Well, this is one giant knife. Although I guess it's debatable whether you would call it a knife or a machete or even a short sword. Just depends on how you define the terms. But let's not get bogged down with the terms. Although, just one thing. Schrade calls this a bolo, which I don't know why they would, because based on the overall shape, this is clearly a barong, not a bolo. But anyway, the model code for this is kind of amusing, actually. The SCHBOLO. I suppose if you were to whip out this bad boy in self-defense, to your attacker, this would probably be the SCHBOLO. So that's kind of appropriate. Anyway, let's get to the actual review. Just to let you know, this was sent to me for review, which means that I'll be extra intent on providing constructive criticism and pointing out potential improvements, because the nice thing about Schrade is I've been talking to their vice president and they are actually genuinely interested in improving their products. So just empty praise is not what they're looking for. They want actual pros and cons, and that's exactly what you're getting right here. As always, I'll post the specifications and relevant links in the video description, so click on show more down below. It's all going to be there. So first of all, the price range, you can find this beast for about $40 to $50. And the blade is made of 3CR13 MOV stainless steel, which doesn't have a good reputation. Overall, it's rather on the soft side, and it's not supposed to have good edge retention. And I'm saying it's not supposed to have because this one here, just based on the test that I did, apparently does. So that's really not a problem in this case. But just to keep that in mind, that it is a budget steel, if you will. But the good thing about that is that it's very tough. You know, kind of on the soft side, but it means that it doesn't break or chip easily, so that's a good thing. It has a full tang, goes all the way through here. And oh, by the way, before I forget, the blade has a titanium nitride coating, and that coating seems to be pretty wear resistant. The grip here appears to be some kind of rubber, and it has a nice texture, as you can see right here. Gives you plenty of traction. Some people may be worried about this being abrasive on bare hands without gloves, but I haven't found that to be the case, really. It's quite secure in the hand, but when swinging it without gloves, I don't seem to be getting any problems. Maybe long term, if you use it a lot, that might be, but otherwise. The lanyard hole is looks a bit messed up because that reinforcement piece here got loose and got a bit squished, apparently, because I was pretty tough on this with the testing, as you can tell right there. I have the footage of the tests in a different video, simply because this would otherwise be a very, very long video. So I decided to split it up. Again, the link will be down below in the video description, along with everything else. I mainly chopped a lot of wood with it, and I also did test cutting on soaked newspaper rolls, which are about similar to tatami mats, which are used in katana cutting tests. Interestingly enough, I also tested the sharpness before and after, and it was dull just a little bit, really. And considering all the stress that I put onto it, that really wasn't that much of a deal. There is the tiniest hint of some wear on the edge here. I don't even know if you can tell. You can mainly see it by the way the light reflects. There's also a bit of dust on there. I don't even think you can tell. It's the edge held up really well overall. Nothing wrong with it. Same with the tip. And I did some pretty abusive testing by abusing it as a throwing knife and just throwing it into an old dead tree with a lot of force. And that kind of abuse was also what was pretty rough on the handle. As you can see here, the rubber started tearing up here. And this is also one of the problems that I have with this. If I were to just pull this apart here, yeah, there you go, it would basically continue ripping open like this. So I could basically just rip the entire thing off if I wanted to. Of course I don't, but and also the other thing is that it does move slightly in the handle now. You can probably tell here where the guard is. That is slightly loose. I don't think I can actually show it. I can just feel it, that it's moving just a little bit inside there. So one thing that I would like to see improved would be having a rivet here. Could be a hollow rivet, kind of like that. But, you know, just something to hold it in place other than just, you know, the overall fit. I like the over-molded grip, because the nice thing about that is you don't have the sharp corners and edges here that you have on some handle scale sandwich designs, where your hand just keeps rubbing over that transition. You don't have that here. It's all pretty smooth, and the molding line here, you don't really notice that at all. So that's very comfortable. But yeah, if you're using it really hard, then it can start to come loose a little bit, which I don't think it would loosen up much more than this. But, you know, it's still noticeable. The kind of hook shape here at the end comes in really handy. I definitely noticed that whenever I was swinging it repeatedly. Your hand either slides down, or you start down there in the first place to get that extra leverage for chopping. And that piece just stops your hand from sliding off. So that is really neat to have that. Makes things a lot easier. And it's just a really comfortable ergonomic shape overall. I quite like that. It's perfect in the hand. It's just one thing that I do not like about the guard here is how it sweeps up like that. That doesn't serve any purpose as far as I can tell. It would be much more useful if it was actually pointed more or less straight away from here. It doesn't really benefit you in any way up there. If it was symmetrical, like this on either side, that would still prevent your hand from sliding up onto the blade. And it's not like this would be a guard that could be used in a combat situation anyway, since it's just rubber. So that really does not serve any purpose whatsoever. And in fact, if this wasn't pointed upwards, but more kind of like this, then they could actually grind the blade down further. So that spot right there wouldn't be wasted, if you will. And that's it in terms of things that I'm not happy with. It's really just the oddly shaped guard here and the fact that the handle could be attached more firmly. Otherwise, this is one heck of a blade, I can tell you that. It's a fantastic chopper, and it's not only is it nice in the hand, like I already mentioned, but it really does the work for you. It's you don't have to swing it that hard, and it already bites in really deeply. Be it wood, be it other materials, it's one heck of a chopper. It just eats things right up. So I was very impressed with this. The nice thing about this is that even though it's technically a knife, or yeah, like I said, machete or whatever you want to call it, it's kind of like having a large knife and an axe in the same package, because this thing definitely does what an axe does. It splits very well, it chops just without effort whatsoever, and it cuts extremely well. Granted, for finer tasks, that this would be a bit cumbersome, simply because of the size, but this thing does pretty much everything in terms of tough tasks. Let's look at the sheath. It has a padded shoulder strap here, but no belt loop actually. Let's see here, it opens up with snap buttons. Even says open on there, which is kind of funny. And that of course helps you to get this wide blade in there. Also in the pouch here you have a diamond whetstone and a ferro rod, which is quite nice to have such accessories. And you can use it with the back of the blade. There you go. But I would actually recommend carrying a small separate striker so you don't mess up your spine like that. The sheath is definitely functional. Holds it in very well, and don't have any problem with it. I guess it could have, you know, plastic inserts, or it could be a hard molded nylon sheath or whatever, but this thing does the job, so I have no problem with that. It's I'm slightly worried about the stitching because the thread seems kind of thin, and I'm wondering if that wouldn't just, especially since this piece already seems to have loosened up. So I'm not sure about how durable the stitching would be. But overall, nice sheath, and especially nice to see such accessories come with it. As far as blades in that size are concerned, this is probably the best chopper that I've tried so far. It's really pretty amazing what this blade can do, and how easy it makes it for you to get a cutting job done. It's just really impressive. It may not be my favorite in terms of aesthetics, but damn, this thing really gets the job done. No doubt about it. And has definitely become one of my favorite blades. For the price, you really can't go wrong with this, in my opinion. Especially if they actually fix these things, like attach the grip a bit more securely and change the guard here. That would be perfect. The way it is already very nice. Again, you're not supposed to throw it. So for most intents and purposes, the grip shouldn't really loosen up. But again, it would be nice if it was a bit more secure than that. So yeah, I think you can tell by now that I would definitely recommend it. Thanks for watching. And finally, I really want to see what this thing can do. I have very dense soaked newspaper rolls right here, about the size of a forearm, and these are really dense right now. They're actually harder than soft tissue would be. Softer than bone, of course, but still pretty hard and resilient. But at the same time, since they are soaked, they still have give. They're still resilient. This is really impressive, especially considering how tightly rolled and thick that is. See right here? Went through that one and through this here as well, completely, and then it stopped at that one, only because this one here has wooden sticks in it as well. Some small diameter dowels.